Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to showcase some Diggersby gameplay because Diggersby was the first Pokemon that I thought of that would be really good in this next season when I saw all of the moveset updates that were announced. It is a great Pokemon into Clodsire. It actually has a lot of play into Feraligatr as well, and there's going to be a lot of Clodsire this season, you better believe it, which is great because our whole team kind of counters it, right? Sableye also has a lot of play, same with our Shadow Feraligatr, and Shadow Sableye also has the Power Gem buff, meaning that it has a lot of neutral play, even into the flying types, into a lot of Pokemon that you might not expect it to. So let's get into the battles and see what this Diggersby team can do. Alright, let's get into game number 1 and see what Diggersby can do here. Okay, well that's a terrible lead. We are ABA weak to Grass-type Pokemon because we have our Feraligatr in the backline and we also have our Diggersby here, but this is exactly why we are running Fire Punch. We can do a lot of damage with a very cheap move. We can outpace them to 2 attacks, and I know Diggersby is so bulky I can survive a Power Whip pretty easily at this point. They will throw a move. Actually, they're overperforming a little bit here. They give us a full sneak, which is nice to see, but we can reach this next Fire Punch after surviving this Power Whip. Once this Ferrothorn is out of the way, I'm hoping my Shadow Feraligatr is going to have a lot of play into the backline, and also Shadow Sableye just up shields is also a very strong Pokemon, so I'm kind of just relying on my backline to sweep this game, use my Diggersby more as a way to get shields, and for some reason our opponent overperforms a little bit too much here. They actually let us get to another Fire Punch, drawing both shields from this Ferrothorn, and now if they want to knock us out, they can't fast attack us down, they're gonna have to throw a move. I'm not gonna shield, I know they're at 100 energy, and I'm hoping that I can Shadow Claw this all the way down with Sableye before they reach 2 attacks. It's gonna be kind of close at this point, it's probably gonna come down to the very last second if I can get the Shadow Claw down, but if I do, that's gonna be amazing. I'll have a lot of energy and shield advantage. Sableye just barely able to Shadow Claw down before they get their next attack, and now we have a lot of energy, we have a shield advantage, and the Ferrothorn is gone, so Shadow Feraligatr should have a lot of play. In comes the Clodsire. I was saying that we have so much play into this Pokemon because our Diggersby is a hard wall to it, Shadow Feraligatr has a lot of damage with Hydro Cannon, and Sableye probably is our worst answer to it, but we do resist the Poison Stings, and we can survive an Earthquake from full health, so I'm not actually that worried about this, but I also know if they're coming in with their Clodsire, that has to assume that there's going to be something weak to our Sableye in the backline, so I wanted to keep it healthy, and in comes a Shadow Feraligatr. This is fantastic to see. We have a lot of energy. This is going to do so much damage to the Gator here, and even though I can't knock them out with Shadow Claw damage, I can go for this next Foul Play because I have my Shadow Feraligatr for that Clodsire still. Foul Play will knock them out here, and this Clodsire at this point is in range where Foul Play would basically knock them out or put them into Shadow Claw down range, and they're not yet at a move, and I also survived a move with our Feraligatr, so at this point this game is over. Sableye able to take the win there. GG's to our opponent. Alright, next match, Diggersby lead into an Azumarill, a very bad core breaker to see. We're going to try to make the most out of this though, coming with our Shadow Poliwrath, or Shadow Feraligatr rather, and hopefully make something happen. This is going to be awkward though. Another Ferrothorn, I guess that's the new Pokemon of the day right now, but Ice Beam is going to be able to land. It does a lot of damage, and if we wanted, we could flip Switch Advantage, but the thing is, we don't really need to, right? I know for a fact that Azu is going to be trouble for both our Diggersby and our Shadow Sableye, so what I need to do here is I need to just get some sort of energy lead with my Sableye at this point. I can't go down 2 shields, that's going to be an instant loss if I do that, because then Azu just kind of sweeps me. I need to keep my shield here and go for a Shadow Claw down against this with our Sableye once again to try to get an energy lead there, and maybe win this game depending on what the final Pokemon's going to be. If it's a hard wall to Sableye, we're probably in some trouble. If it's anything else, if it's anything we have play into, we might still have a chance to win this game. What is our opponent going to use in the backline? It's going to be a Poliwrath. Okay, well, this is maybe the worst team I could have ever seen here. I think we might just happen to lose our first game of the entire season using this this awesome team. I like this team, but Core Breaker Central, right? The Azu is so bad for us, this Poliwrath is so bad for us, and that Ferrothorn is very bad to see as well, so honestly, not much you can do this game. I'm going to try my best, though. There's a chance that we might be able to make something happen here, depending on what my opponent does. They do try to swap out. I'm going to throw this Power Gem. Even though we are debuffed, I need to get some damage against it, and I know that we need to keep some energy so I can have some damage against that Poliwrath later on as well, and now we're going to sponge energy with our Diggersby. Diggersby is very bulky here, so we will be able to survive a move and hopefully knock out this Azu before they can swap out. The 50-second switch clock might come into play here. Ooh, Hydro Pump, that's going to do a lot more damage than Ice Beams would do, but it's going to pace moves quite a bit slower, and now we can reach this Scorching Sands. That Poliwrath is almost at another move, though. This is not looking amazing for us, and I do reach the Fire Punch right before they can swap out. This won't knock them out, but it will put them into range where I could knock them out with a Foul Play potentially later on, but they can swap here, they can get the farm down, and if I can't knock them out with a move with our Sableye, there's just no way we can win this game. I CMP on the attack, I know an Icy Wind, a Scald, no matter what they're going to throw here, it's going to knock us out. GG's to our opponent. We did end up losing this game, unfortunately. Just way too many core breakers for us to handle, but we made it close here. We got their Pokemon down into the red, nearly knocking out this Poliwrath, and almost knocking out this Azu, so GG's to our opponent. Alright, next game, Diggersby in the lead against Clodsire. This is a fantastic lead, but most of the time you're going to see a Feraligatr in the back with this, which is exactly what we see this time. I don't have a hard answer to this, but Diggersby actually, even though we are a Ground-type Pokemon, it has way more play into this than you might expect. This is one of the few Pokemon in the meta that does require 2 attacks to be thrown against us to get knocked out. These Shadow Claws do nothing to us here, and despite being super effective damage with Hydro Cannon, we survive almost in the red here, just above the red health at this point, and now we can shield this attack and start going for these Hydro Cannons, or the Scorching Sands rather. These Hydro Cannons will be shielded up, and now if we can get an attack drop, that would be amazing. If we don't get it though, that's fine at this point, because I have 2 plays here, right? I can either stay in this, or I can try to swap out to our Gator, or I guess I just let that go. Normally I expect everyone to 2-shield their Feraligatr. This time, though, they just let it go down, which honestly is great for us to see. In comes a Shadow Machamp. I swapped my Shadow Feraligatr, and maybe this was a mistake. I should have swapped my Shadow Sableye. I thought they were going to come back in with that other Pokemon that was in the lead, the Clodsire, but no, they came in with their Machamp, and now this is actually a little bit more awkward than I'd like it to be, because Machamp could probably one-shot our Shadow Sableye with a Stone Edge, or come very close to knocking us out with that, so I need to make a proper bait call with our Sableye, either shield up a Stone Edge or no-shield a Cross Chop here to win this game. Karate Chop obviously doesn't have a ton of damage on it, especially because we do resist these moves, but if this is a Stone Edge, it will knock us out. I shielded up properly, luckily, and they are not able to get to another move there. They swap out to Clodsire, and since we are so strong against this Pokemon, I know we can win this game. I have back-to-back foul plays. Earthquake would do a lot of damage, but our Diggersby is still alive. It is open as a catch potential. We swap out, we go for the Scorching Sands. They didn't throw immediately, but what they did do is they CMP'd on this move. Scorching Sands is almost going to knock them out here. It doesn't quite knock them down, but it is going to put them into a range where we can fast attack them down with Sableye and still win this game. They go for a Stone Edge against us. That could be bad if they don't knock us out here, but it looks like it was going to be a Simul if they didn't throw this move, so that wasn't the end of the world. Now I get a Shadow Claw down against this Pokemon. I'm going to be able to throw a move against this Shadow Machamp. It's going to be a foul play, or a Power Gem rather. Why not? We might as well throw the newly buffed move here, knock out the fighting type Pokemon, Shadow Claw down the Clodsire, and take the win this game. Having so much play into Clodsire really gives us a lot of flexibility despite Shadow Feraligatr being kind of tricky for us to deal with, and in the lead this next game, another Pokemon that you might expect our Diggersby not to have a great matchup into, it's another Water-type Pokemon, right? But most of the time, I've seen a lot of people run Earth Power rather than Water Pulse. If it is Earth Power, we survive it easily, we outpace them to the next move, and we are in a good spot, because we can 2-shot them with these Scorching Sands. What move are they going to throw? Water Pulse would do a decent amount of damage, but it is just an Earth Power, puts us just below half health, and we can reach the next Scorching Sands here, knocking out this Gastrodon or drawing a shield from them. At this point, I'd rather see a shield. I love shield advantage in the backline with both my Shadow Sableye and also my Shadow Feraligatr. Okay, well, that's a crazy Pokemon to bring into our Diggersby. They throw a move after 6. I know for a fact that's a Sludge Bomb. We survive, and we can also reach this Scorching Sands, knock them out. Well, not knock them out, but do a lot of damage to them, because obviously super effective damage into a Clodsire is going to do catastrophic damage. Now I'm going to swap into Shadow Feraligatr, build up as much energy as I can here, and see what they're going to do. They actually make a pretty nice catch on a Jumpluff. Bit of an awkward Pokemon to see with our entire team, honestly. When I made this team on PvPoke the night before the new season came out, I wasn't expecting a ton of grass types in general, not a ton of Jumpluffs or anything, but this team is actually a little bit weaker to Jumpluff than I'd like it to be. With that said, at this point, I'm just going to go straight Hydro Cannon, because I need guaranteed damage against it, and I know that Clodsire in the back isn't that big of a threat. I just need to make sure this Jumpluff is gone. Luckily, they don't try to bait us with Aerial Ace if they're even running it. I've seen a lot of the non-Shadow Jumpluffs running Acrobatics rather than Aerial Ace, so I know I do outpace them pretty heavily as long as that is the moveset they're running. They're going to have to start shielding these Hydros if they don't want to let their Jumpluff go down. Looks like this time they do end up shielding that move, and I can reach another Hydro Cannon before they can knock us out. Another Energy Ball is going to be shielded. They swap out to their Clodsire. It's going to be a Sludge Bomb almost certainly that they're going to throw against us. We do survive the move, but they can get the farm down at the last second before we get the next move. That Poison Sting buff coming in clutch for them, giving them that farm down right before we get that move. And now I'm going to make a catch at the last second on our Diggersby. Diggersby at this point is not going to have too much play at that health range. Its best use case is going to be as a catch. We can farm down this Clodsire, double foul play that Jumpluff. I was going to say Whimsicott. It's a very similar Pokemon, grass type with Fairy Wind, but no, it is a Jumpluff there that we were able to beat. Speaking of Jumpluff, I guess another one is back on our screen here. This time in the lead, though, a very uncomfortable matchup. We do get 2-shot by these Charge Moves. The Energy Balls will do a lot of damage, but they don't have much fast move pressure despite Fairy Wind getting a buff this season. And you can see, look, it might not be the best matchup in the world to be in here, but we are adding up damage with these quick attacks and these fire punches, and we do need them to throw another move to knock us out. They swap in with their Shadow, or their non-Shadow Feraligatr actually this time, so I can go for the Scorching Stance. I can hopefully get a shield from them, and if not, then at least put them in a range where my own Gator can deal with them pretty easily, and now our Feraligatr is going to have a lot of work to do this game. Is this a crunch or a hydro cannon? Very likely going to be a hydro. I haven't seen too many crunch users in this day and age right now. I think a lot of people have opted for Ice Beam now that Jump Fluff is around a lot, and because there aren't any lanterns really anymore, Lantern was like the main reason to run crunch in the past, but now that there aren't any in the meta, we can actually just kind of go for Ice Beam, have that coverage for the grass types and the dragons. In comes that Jump Fluff here. They do have a little bit of energy, but we are able to get to this hydro cannon and force a shield from them. If I can get to another move, we're in a good spot. We were going to be able to get to one, and they do realize that they throw energy, and we see their full moves that they have aerial as their second move. I want to drain energy with Diggersby at this point because I know they have a decent amount still. They throw a move. Is this an aerial ace? Because we survived that. An energy ball would knock us out, but it would be a ton of energy if they had that. And it turns out it's just an ace. We do survive it. They do get to another move with this jump fluff. I should be able to shield it though and farm them all the way down. I hope they get greedy. I hope they stay in here and try to get to an ace. But they end up swapping out, meaning that I don't get that farm down and that jump fluff is still around as potentially a catch or just as a way to do more fast move pressure against me. I do see a way I can win this game. It's going to be if I can knock out this Clodsire before they're able to get to 2 Earthquakes, because after those fairy winds, we actually took a lot of damage. This time, though, they threw a Stone Edge. I knew for a fact that's not an Earthquake. I have to no-shield this because they'd be able to get to an Earthquake very soon otherwise. Now I'm at back-to-back moves with our Sableye. I think that might have been a CMP here. That's totally fine if it is. I have the back-to-back moves and a shield, so as long as we can knock out this Clodsire, we are in a very good spot. They do end up going for the move here. I'm going to shield it up. I tried to go for the back-to-back CMP. Looks like I was able to trigger it, making it so they could not catch this move, and now it's just going to be a fast move race. Can I Shadow Claw down and quick attack down that jump fluff before we get knocked out by fairy winds? 3 Shadow Claws, not quite enough to knock them out. Diggersby gets a quick attack through, knocks out the Shadow jump fluff, just barely taking us that game. GG's to our opponent. Dude, Magic Mason, a regional champion this early in the season, a teammate of mine, one of the best battlers in the world. Honestly, these battles are so sweaty that we've had so far today, and in comes a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. You might expect this matchup to be pretty bad for Diggersby, especially because they're running, I think that was a Powder Snow Ace Slash, right? Yeah, it's Powder Snow here, and that has a lot of fast move pressure into us, but that's honestly not the end of the world. We have Fire Punch, and we do survive one move in the Zero Shield matchup. We can easily tank this, and since they're going to stay in here, I can throw a second Fire Punch. Looks like he was expecting me to maybe try to catch, and they didn't want to throw all of their energy there, but I get both shields from the Shadow Alolan Sandslash very early on. I love shield advantage with my backline. Sableye and Feraligatr, both very strong sweepers. It's really going to depend on their backline to see how much play we're going to have, and in comes a Gastrodon. Mud Slaps are going to add up very quickly. They will also reach a Body Slam very soon, but I know if they don't reach an Earth Power, they're not going to knock us out with a charge move here, at least not just yet, so I can no-shield this. Body Slam did get nerfed, and I can probably get to another Hydro and guarantee this matchup and guarantee shield advantage still for our Shadow Sableye. I do throw this move, it's going to knock them out, but that Shadow Alolan Sandslash is still alive in the back, and that could be a little bit tricky depending on their third Pokemon. Looks like their third Pokemon is revealed. It is their own Gator. It is a non-Shadow though, so it is a Sandslash double water team here. Very cool team. I need to be very careful with my energy management this game if I want to be able to win it. I waited to see if a catch was going to come through because I figured a catch was very likely. I built up to back-to-back foul plays, and now Sableye can throw one against this Sandslash, one against that Feraligatr, and win this game with a Sableye sweep in the back. Outplay will land. Will it be enough to knock out? It's a non-Shadow Gator. It might not, but it actually is. It does so much damage. Shadow Sableye is so offensively powerful. I really love it with this Power Gem buff. We didn't get a lot of use out of it today, but the times I was able to use it were very strong. All right, well, another jump fluff in the lead. We're going to play it out the same way we have been, where we just go for these Fire Punches, these quick attacks, and try to ship it down so our Gator and our Sableye in the backline don't really have to deal with it. This is awkward, though, because this is the non-Shadow, which is actually just strictly better for them, because they still need to two-shot us here, but they just take less damage from us in return, so this is very awkward to see. With that said, though, I think if we shield a move, we can guarantee a shield back with a Fire Punch, or just have a decent amount of health left over on our Diggersby, so it's going to be interesting to see how our opponent plays this out. I'm going to shield up this move. Actually, I'm going to no-shield. Okay, well, I guess I'm thinking of a different matchup. I guess this is a way to do it, because they did just throw instantly there, which is also fine. They were energy dry, so they're not as big of a threat against our Gator or against our Sableye, and they instantly swapped out to their Feraligatr. I am up energy in this matchup, which means that I am always going to be able to reach these moves first, and also my Shadow Feraligatr is very attack-weighted, which means I can always win CMP, at least most of the time. I don't think I've ever lost CMP with it, because it is actually such a bad Feraligatr. I need to build a new one. I go for the CMP, and if they let this go, this Hydro Cannon will knock them out. I hope they do let this go. I don't want to go down 2 shields just yet, and it looks like they do let that move through. If the Jump Fluff comes back in, I should be able to knock it out or do a lot of damage with Hydro Cannons plus Shadow Claw. They do come back in with it, and they get to an attack. Unfortunately, they were one turn desynced here, which means I wasn't able to get that CMP, but we see they are running Aerial Ace. I get the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. If they shield, I can throw another move right now and get the knockout. If they no shield, I have a Hydro loaded for the backline. They do end up shielding that move, and I get the next Hydro off, knocking out this Jump Bluff. I'm assuming right now it's Clodsire in the back. If you haven't seen a Clodsire just yet, it is almost certain that the final Pokemon is always going to be a Clodsire. It's just such a strong Pokemon. You have to imagine it's almost on every single team right now, so this team is fantastic for that. I do land that Shadow Hydro Cannon here, knocking this Clodsire low into the red health. Sableye at that point just needs to fast move down. They realize the game is over. GG's to our opponent. Next game against a Clodsire in the lead with our Diggersby, and it looks like they save swap a Jump Bluff. A very good lead, but a very awkward save swap here. I'm just going to play this out the same way I played out that last game. I'm going to keep my Diggersby onto this Jump Bluff, try to quick attack and Fire Punch it as much as possible. Maybe this time, though, I will start shielding because I do want to get this Jump Bluff as low as possible so that I don't have to worry about it with our backline. Energy Ball does come through. It's going to do a lot of damage, but once again, it's not going to one-shot us. They don't have fast move pressure into us, and an Aerial Ace would not be enough to finish us off at this point, so they do have to commit to another Energy Ball. They are going to stay in this matchup. Obviously, they're switch locked for just a little bit longer, and they're going to throw another Energy Ball into our Diggersby. We will show it up this time, actually, so I guess this is the matchup I was thinking of, and now we can reach this Fire Punch here right before they get to another Energy Ball. Will they start shielding up their Jump Bluff, or are they just going to let this go? At this point, they are going to keep their Jump Bluff alive, and I don't get my next move, but I'm very close. I don't think I can Shadow Claw this down with either my Sableye or with our Feraligatr in the back, but I do want to get an energy lead there because I know that Clodsire in the backline is going to be very difficult to deal with if I don't have some sort of advantage going into that. Because even though our team does triple counter it, it is actually a little bit tricky if they do get shields down. I'm actually just going to instantly throw this move. I don't want to take any chip damage if I can help it, and I thought they would get to another move. In comes their final Pokemon, the low kicks of all things. That is going to do so much fast move pressure to us, but at this point, I know they're going to have to shield this move. Hydro Cannon would basically one-shot them at this point, and they are going to try to go for the fast move down with Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is a very strong move, but it is not quite strong enough to knock me out before I get my next Hydro Cannon here. They can try to catch on a Clodsire if they want to, but this is going to do even more damage to that than they probably would want to take, and now I can build it to back-to-back moves with our Sableye and go for the Power Gem against that low kicks later on this game. We resist these poison stings, as I said, so that means they have no fast move pressure into us here. I can survive this Earthquake very easily, and as long as I can't get to another charge move, there is no way I'm going to be able to lose this game. Earthquake does do a lot of damage, but not enough to knock us out. We get the back-to-back Power Gem. You might as well Power Gem the Clodsire if ever given the chance, so I'm going to go for that here. I'm going to Power Gem that Bug type in the back as well, and knock out the low kicks thanks to this Power Gem buff. You should not be able to soar back-to-back here, so I guess this is just a showcase of what you can do now that you can have two Power Gems loaded at the same time. GG's to our opponent. Next game, we're going to see that we have the Diggersby in the lead against the Abomasnow Snow. Okay, not a great lead to see, but we do have access to Fire Punch once again, but they have a lot of fast move and charge move pressure against us, so this could be a little bit tricky depending on what they're going to do. They tried to actually go for a catch with that Fire Punch there on that Feraligatr, but I kind of felt like that was going to come. I was going to overfarm there a little bit and see what they were going to do, because who really wants to take a Fire Punch from a Diggersby with an Abomasnow Snow? Luckily, though, I do land that Scorching Sands, and now they are going to throw some energy at our Feraligatr. I'm going to swap out, because I think Diggersby with a Fire Punch loaded could still be kind of useful in the backline. They do get to a move here. I'm going to shield it up, because that Abomasnow Snow, if it does come back in, is going to need to throw a full-on energy ball to knock us out if we have a lot of health on a Feraligatr. So we are going to shield that up, and in comes that Abomasnow Snow. This is likely going to be an energy ball here. They probably want to get both shields down from me, so I will shield this up. I know that I have a lot of play with Shadow Claw and with our charge moves into this Abomasnow Snow. We actually do reach the Ice Beam. I'm going to try to snipe them through two shields here. They probably expect a Hydro Cannon. At least that's what I'm thinking they're going to expect, but they end up shielding that move. I get to another Ice Beam, but I'm going to bait this time, because I feel like if they're going to shield once, they're probably going to shield twice. Are they going to shield this? They end up letting the move go, so they just have my number this game right now. That's not great for us to see, and now they're going to knock us out, probably with an energy ball. Yeah, they do have to throw a lot of energy to knock us out still, but that's kind of fine. We get an energy lead with our Shadow Sableye, and in comes their final Pokemon, a Gastrodon, a Pokemon that does have the ability to knock us out if they get to an Earth Power here, so I think we'll have to try to go for a catch this game if we want any shot at winning this. I do see that they have the energy right now. I make the catch. Diggersby is going to absorb all of this damage from this Gastrodon now. Even if they undercharge at this point, I can just Shadow Claw down or Quick Attack down this Gastrodon, and now we can win this game just through straight up fast move pressure, knocking out this Gastrodon and also knocking out that Abomasnow Snow. GG's to our opponent. All right, next game, Diggersby into Clodsire, a fantastic lead for our Diggersby to see. We obviously do resist poison-type damage. We have super effective damage against them as well, but there is the classic Feraligatr safe swap. It is basically every time you set Clodsire, it's always going to have a Shadow Feraligatr in the backline, so we have to stay in here for a minute, go for a Scorching Sands, and see how our opponent are going to play out this game. Scorching Sands won't knock them out, but it's going to do a lot of damage, and a lot of people do like shielding their Feraligatr, and it can get an attack drop, but it doesn't look like I get one there. It looks like also they are going to start shielding up their Feraligatr here, which is fine because our own Gator can come in. It's going to do a lot of damage just with this move. I actually undercharge this because I know I'm not going to knock them out with that even if I fully charge, so I'm going to shield this, farm them all the way down, and get an energy lead for whatever is going to come in to absorb our energy. If it is going to be that Clodsire, they're going to actually be in a bit of a tricky spot because I can probably get to 2 Hydros before they're able to get to a move, unless they're running Sludge Bomb. I do get to the double Hydro Cannon here. That was not a CMP, so I can throw them back to back. They're going to have to shield their Clodsire if they want to knock out my Feraligatr before they're going to have to take another move here. Are they going to shield this? Are they going to try to save all the energy on Clodsire? Or are they going to invest on a 3-in-1 matchup here in the backline? What is their third Pokemon? It's a Gastrodon, so they are going to try to go for the 3-on-1 sweep right now. This could be a little bit tricky. I gave them a bigger farm down than I really should have there, and I come in with our Diggersby to try to drain energy. What move are they going to throw? Hopefully it's going to be an Earth Power, but I assume they're probably just going to Body Slam us at this point, which could be a little bit tricky if they go for a Body Slam bait against our Sableye. If they bait us with Body Slam and then land an Earth Power, we probably do lose this game. I'm going to shield this up, hope that it's not a bait. Looks like they do throw a Water Pulse, so it's not an Earth Power on this particular Gastrodon, but Water Pulse would still do a lot of damage to us. I'm going to throw this move. This Foul Play will draw a shield or knock them out if they let it through. They do end up shielding that attack, and as long as I can reach this Foul Play before they reach another move, we should be able to win this game. Looks like we are, at the very last second, able to reach this Foul Play, knock out this Gastrodon, and take the game once again with Shadow Sableye closing out the backline. GG's to our opponent. Our next matchup here, Diggersby in the lead into another Shadow Feraligatr. This is not as bad as I've always been saying. It's just a decent lead for Diggersby. Get this out of the way for our backline, because honestly, in this current meta, Shadow Feraligatr is kind of the star. Anytime you can get rid of your opponent's Shadow Feraligatr, you set up your own Gator to kind of avoid it and hopefully have a lot more play. I also know that people love shielding these moves. If I can get a shield advantage for my backline, I love having shield advantage Sableye, shield advantage Gator as well. We get an attack drop actually there, and they don't end up shielding that move. So I'm going to no-shield this. I know even a Crunch wouldn't do that much damage with a debuff, so we do survive this, and in comes their next Pokemon. It's going to be a mandibuzz. Okay, that's not the best thing to see here, and we do lag a little bit, meaning that we don't get an extra fast move through, but I think that's kind of fine still. We have a lot of energy on our Gator. We can probably land an Ice Beam or maybe 2 Hydro Cannons as well to try to start threatening this mandibuzz. Hydro Cannon does almost half of a mandibuzz's health, so if they let this move through, I'm going to do so much damage to them, which is also very helpful. Our whole team is very weak to mandibuzz, actually. Diggersby is kind of neutral into it, but mandibuzz really strives in those neutral matchups, and also our Shadow Sableye, even though we have Power Gem and it was buffed, it's going to just kind of lose that matchup most of the time. We try to catch a move with Diggersby. We don't catch an Aerial Ace, but they're still forced to throw energy, and even though we could have thrown that Fire Punch there, I wanted to make sure that if they did swap out, I could throw it against something else, and now this is fast move farm down range for either a Shadow Sableye or our Shadow Feraligatr. We haven't seen their final Pokemon just yet. I'm assuming it's a Clodsire. That is probably the best guess you could really make, and there it comes. Clodsire does come in, which is good, because that's probably one of the only things we could really have a good chance at beating right now. We do have energy on our Feraligatr as well, but we have to keep in mind they have 2 low health Pokemon, so I have to keep my Pokemon a little bit healthy here so I don't get fast moved down this game. They are going to throw an attack, likely going to be an Earthquake. If it's a Stone Edge, that's a very strong bait by them, but they do just straight up send the Earthquake right now, and I can try to catch on our Feraligatr. I think this is going to be Shadow Claw downrange if they happen to let us, but no, they don't even throw the move there, which is actually kind of good. I tried to make a catch with that Earthquake, but they ended up overfarming a little bit, which means that I also get to that move against this Clodsire. I draw a shield, and I still think I can fast move farm down this Clodsire before they get to another move. Stone Edge is reached, and if they get a Stone Edge here, that's fine. We survive it. I know this is not an Earthquake, and it's going to be a little bit dicey though in the end game. They still have those 2 Pokemon alive. I need to knock out both that Feraligatr and that Mandibuzz before they're able to fast move me down. In comes a Mandy, in comes the Feraligatr as well. We do Shadow Claw them both down. Actually, the Mandibuzz is still alive, but we have 2 charge moves, so we can throw 1 Foul Play, get the shield, and then throw the Power Gem and knock out this Mandibuzz here. GG's to our opponent. Very close endgame, but Shadow Sableye just barely able to get a sweep once again. GG's to them. Shadow Sableye has done so much work in the back, just getting sweep after sweep. Shadow Feraligatr is kind of the main character of this new meta, but Shadow Sableye, it's just so strong. All right, next game. Okay, how many Grass-type leads are we going to have to deal with here? This is one of the worst leads that we could really see, not just because it has fast move pressure, but it has a ton of charge move pressure with these Frenzy Plants right now. I'm going to do what I've been doing against the jump fluffs. I can do quick attacks, I can do fire punches, I can try to whittle it down as much as possible. As long as this Superior avoids our Feraligatr, then we're going to be in a decent spot. I get to another move. I'm not confident, though, that I could actually get to another fire punch before they can Vine Whip us down, so I'm going to swap out to our Shadow Sableye, try to get some sort of energy lead for the backline, and maybe Sableye is going to be able to put in enough work in the back that we're not going to be in that bad of a spot. I also know that Superior is going to be out of the way here, right? Superior not being around means Gator is going to have more wiggle room right now, and in comes a Galarian Weezing. amazing. This is a bit of an awkward Pokemon. Obviously, Fairy Wind is super effective, but if they don't land a big move against us, if they just go for Brutal Swings, we do actually survive those, and they let us get to a CMP Foul Play. This isn't going to do a lot of damage, but it will put them in fast move farm down range, so if they do go for a Brutal Swing here, I can no-shield this, keep my Sableye alive as a potential catch maybe this game, and see how they're going to play this one out. Brutal Swing does not knock us out. In comes Diggersby. They throw yet another move, and now I know if I can bring in my Gator, go for a fast move down here, there are some things in the back I could win against. I also know that Sableye could be used as a catch later on this game if I need it. That 50-second switch clock really coming in clutch, giving me a lot of opportunities to swap out, and they instantly throw a move. This Brutal Swing won't do that much damage. It's not actually that strong of a move. It's just very spammy, and our opponent is staying in here, giving me a full Shadow Claw down. That's amazing. They thought they might be able to get to another Brutal Swing, but since they don't, now I have a lot of energy going into the backline. The only way I lose this game is a catch. Our opponent tries to go for it here, but I have a lot of energy on our Feraligatr, almost 3 Hydro Cannons loaded. I'm going to throw the first one. I'm going to get to the back-to-back Hydro Cannon, and as long as they don't Poison Sting me down before I can get to my 3 Hydro Cannons, I should be able to win this game. Shadow Gator just kind of popping off this game, getting a full-on sweep this time, the Gator sweep, knocking out not only that Weezing, not only that Serperior, but taking out a full health Clodsire here at the end of the game and getting us the win. GG's to our opponent. Very, very fun match. So those were my first sets of the season. A lot of very close battles and honestly a lot of very intense games. I don't know why, but this season has been one of the most intense starts that I've really had. So many great battlers, so many really tough battles, and it's been a lot of fun, but it's been a lot of stress, honestly. So it's really good to see these new meta Pokemon getting the light of day here. Shadow Sableye, Diggersby being a very unstoppable duo, and Shadow Feraligatr is just so oppressive. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I actually stream Pokemon Go PvP nearly every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, please make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe. Alright, well, thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.